I am the scrap buyer for the facility. I write a majority of our purchase orders. And then on the back end, once the material is received, then I also process the settlement. So I touch it from start to finish. We use ROM to write the purchase order, receive the material, and then process the settlement in hard form. We used to handwrite everything. We had a multi-carbonless receiving report that everything was handwritten on. We're using calculators to calculate the weight. We did have an automated scale, but that was still like a carbonless printout, and everything was just done by hand. So if there was an error in the math, they're constantly whiting out, scratching it out, even voiding that form and starting a new form. You know, that was just from the receiving. Then once it got to settlements, you're hand inputting the price that you are taking from a carbonless 4-copied purchase order, adding that in, using your calculator, adding it all up, making sure it adds right. Don't make any mistakes, otherwise you're starting over. And then from there, making a copy of that and having to fax it out. And it just was an arduous process. At the time, we were trying to initially help out the receiving department because things were just taking too long. A truck comes in, we got to balance the weight before the truck can leave, but the math isn't adding up. And ROM was a simple way to be able to quickly have those weights, whether it was captured from the scale or manually entered. We were easily able to calculate what the weight differential was, whether that was acceptable enough to let the truck go, or do we need to find that weight. So that was our first task. Second task was to try to automate the purchasing process to have a better way to archive what we still have open, what we've paid for things. Just a much easier, quicker way to access that information. And we did look at several different options before deciding on ROM, but ROM was the first one we saw, so everybody had to compare to that. Having to handwrite a purchase order with 10 or so items on it, doing it right, pressing hard enough, just the physical beating it would take on you mentally and physically to having to write these purchase orders, but it was time consuming. You had to handwrite that, distribute 4 copies of it, fax out a copy, hand one over to settlements, get one to accounting, and then holding on to one myself. We got lots of paper around. Then once the material would come in, now I'm hand calculating on each of those, my hard copy of that, so I know what's come in, how much do I have left, flipping through pages in a binder notebook that I have that I would keep everything in alphabetical order so I could quickly look, then pulling those out. Just, very, very time consuming. Now, settlements were done by hand. They would on an average day would take an hour. With ROM doing all the calculations, all I have to do is make sure that we're applying the right PO, and an hour went down to 20 minutes. My favorite feature is being able to look up history, past things, what's open, what's not open, what I have left, what I paid for, what I was paying for scrap the last time they ordered from me, being able to see multiple orders at one time, not having to get out of my desk, go to the file cabinet, go to their file, make sure that it was in the chronological order, so I'm grabbing the right ones, pulling out, going back to my desk, and then looking, oh, this is what I paid you last time. The market was down, it's up now, I can give you a couple more cents, what have you. Now it's all right there on my screen. I'm on and off the phone with a potential vendor or potential purchase, 30 seconds. Where before, I'm getting out of my desk, if I don't find it, then I gotta call them back, and everything is a lot more efficient, quicker. I could spend more time working on how we can be more efficient on other things because we have this one system. Every so often, probably once a quarter, our bank comes in and audits, and they, briefly pull out things at random. And in this last audit, the CFO came to me and was telling us how the auditors wanted to see the receiving reports from certain very specific purchases, and they had the pricing. In the past, because we were using our accounting software as our archiving, everything would get handwritten, but then it would go into the accounting software. Well, this time, because of ROM, they were able to just go in, search for that particular item from that particular vendor, and he could just find the one he was talking about within minutes. Where going through our accounting software could have taken hours. You have to generate a report, hope you're catching the right dates, and then print that out so you can search through it quicker than you can on the screen. It's just astronomical in the amount of time savings that there is when you need an answer quick. All in all, ROM has improved the speed and efficiency of how we're able to do business and answer questions when needed.